This is Miss Melinda. Welcome to Miss Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Diva Show. So how's all my subscribers, students, fans, and viewers doing tonight? Happy New Year! We're ringing in the new year, 2026, with Miss Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Diva Show. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed and join the party. You can come here anytime you need to talk, and you can write comments, as long or comments as you want underneath my videos. Yeah, I'm supposed to get comments from my fans according to YouTube anyway. So those of you who don't know, on New Year's Day, Miss Melinda got a message in her email right on New Year's Day. And it says, well, Melinda Ivkovitz, welcome to, it says, Melinda Ivkovitz, congratulations. You have just been accepted into the YouTube Partnership Program, and you are among a prestigious community of other YouTube voices and businesses. Isn't that uplifting? Isn't that the best news you could have right on the first day of 2026? How you couldn't start a year better than that. Means that this video I'm making right now, I will get paid for in a month, but we are still working. Me and my assistants are still working on the steps you have to do to, so eventually I give my bank information to YouTube, and we wrap up the steps. We've done a lot of steps in the past couple of weeks, a little bit each week, as much as we can. But we still have to finish up some steps, but they still have to pay me. The first video is my one of my New Year's Eve costumes. That's all silver bustier, just comes here, and it had no straps or sleeves at all. Yeah, my bosoms were just pushed up in there and no straps. So from that video forward, all those videos are going to be paid for. And what so they're going to make a payment once a month. Well, I have to see how this works. I'm not sure if my fans have to pay, because one assistant was telling me one thing. We don't have time for me to go into all this, but my fans might have to, use a charge card, and they'll give you, YouTube will give you an address to charge a monthly payment. I do not expect a lot. The deal is, just the first month, if people could dig a little extra deeper, just to get me on my feet, because I bowed against my rent check. But don't worry, I'll get back on my feet. But the only way I make money is by how many hours you guys watch my videos. I have 1,998 subscribers. Just say 1,100 subscribers. So those of you who are rich, lawyers, doctors, or have any kind of good paying job, if you can make the first credit charge, a decent amount, just to get back on my feet with that 1 month rent. And then after that first month, I'm not going to expect you guys to pay a real lot. Because, I don't want to get into it. But don't worry, if you have to pay, those of you, who have 10 kids and not a high-paying job or all kinds of bills, you don't have to, uh, send much money, but I'm not going to say how much. Right now, let me finish all my steps and see what my assistant. I'm going to my smartest assistant. He's gonna come here and help me tomorrow, and let me get more information before I say anything. But don't worry, because if the fans have to pay and it's not YouTube paying, it won't. You don't have to send a real lot for those of you who don't have it to give. Let's just let things ride for right now, and let me see if I can get, maybe if we could finish all the steps tomorrow, it would be great. So let's just let nature take its course. Okay, let's go. It's getting late. I'm going to teach you a really exciting, so I just taught a class, and it was really exciting. It was about NASA, it was about NASA and up-to-date news. So you'll like that one. I spent on Friday, I worked on that class, and it took me like 10 hours. I had to, it took me about 8 hours or so. Then I had to do a couple hours the next day. And then today, I worked like 6 hours to finish up this class. So I was doing too many, like 9 pages, 10 pages. It just wasn't, the classes were getting too short. Once in a while it's okay to do 9 pages, or so, but not consistently like that. I have students that really care about learning, and to just teach 9 pages and then they got to wait for another video, or they only have maybe 2 more videos that are just uploaded, then they got to wait, they get frustrated. So I taught a really long class right before this one with NASA. You'll see it. And it's very interesting. If you listen to these 2 classes, you will understand it, and it's fascinating, okay? So this one, I decided, since I did 40-something biology classes, and I quit because I did 40-something, I said, I think my fans and I might be getting sick of biology. I started in the middle of the book, well, closer to the front. So I decided, well, I haven't taught biology for a long time. It'll be a real easy way for me to write up a class, because it's a book, biology book. And I took off the class I made today. I took off where we left off. Where we left off, I highlight every title and every sentence in that biology book with magic marker highlighters, so I know what's been done. And so I went to where we left off, okay? And it turned out to be, it's one on hormones, okay? There was one page before it that I had already written up, but it was just like 2 sentences and 2 sentences. I had written it up already, so I just left that out, but it had to do with hormones. I must have just stuck it with another class or something. Anyway, but this is basically the beginning. It was only like 4 sentences. I added some other class, I don't know. Okay, so here is a biology class, and it doesn't have a number anymore because everything's up for grabs, right? Welcome to Miss Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Diva Show. And we're going to have the best year, one of the best years of our lives, 2026. and I'll be sooner or later making some money, and we can get some mini skirts and mini dresses. But I do have a surprise coming up, but you can't, my whole show cannot depend on my cleavage or my cleavage and my naked bosoms as of right now. My whole show can't depend on that. Those New Year's Eve and Christmas sweaters, I want you to spend hours watching them. My show won't make it. If you just jump to the ones that you see my naked bosoms, my show won't make it. You've got to watch at least some of me, and they're excellent classes. You really need to watch the whole shows that I am covered up, because if you listen, they're very interesting classes. And I'm jumping around, anything goes. I just spontaneously decided to teach a biology class. And I said that it would be, what's that noise? And I said it would be, so out of my biology book, let's go. There's a weird noise. I want to get out of here. Seeing how hormones work. Hormones, and vertebrates can be divided into two groups, peptide hormones, such as insulin, are short chains of amino acids. We've learned some of this in that biology book, but this is brand new. This was not highlighted. This is where we left off. But it sounds familiar in other biology classes, but they can have repeats when they're trying to teach something else. Because I can't teach the same class twice. The YouTube will, might punish me for it or delete the video. I would never purposely copy the same class. Okay, peptide hormones, such as insulin, are short chains of amino acids. You can think of them as very small proteins. Do you know how to turn that noise off, Christine?
What?
I'm recording. Do you know how to turn the noise off?
I haven't done anything.
Do you know where the noise is coming from?
Trying to get it on.
Who is? The nurses?
And the maintenance guy.
There's a maintenance guy here?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Peptide hormones, such as insulin, are short chains of amino acids. You can think of them as very small proteins. Peptide hormones are hydrophilic, water-loving, so they don't pass easily through cell membranes. The receptors for peptide hormones are embedded in the plasma membranes of target cells, period. Peptide hormones bind to the receptors at the cell surface. See, we learned some of this, but it was another part in the biology book. It's the same book, but this was not taught yet. So we've learned some of this in the same biology book, but it was with some other subjects in the biology book, okay? So if we feel like we're getting a little repetition, it's not the same class. I wouldn't do that. I'd get in trouble. It's just some of a section in the beginning, closer to the beginning of the book, has something to do with this hormones class. So we've already learned some of this, but the whole class is different than when we heard it parts of it the first time. Yeah, do you follow what I'm saying? Okay, the receptors, where am I at? Yeah, the receptors for peptide hormones are embedded in the plasma membranes of target cells, period. Peptide hormones bind to their receptors at the cell surface, activating the receptor and causing a change in the part of the receptor that extends into the inside of the cell, period. the internal part of the receptors interacts with molecules inside the cell to cause a change in behavior. Because the message from the hormone is passed through the plasma membrane, the signaling process is called signal transduction. The signaling process is called signal transduction. So, next part, called steroid hormones, such as testosterone and estrogen, are lipids, L-I-P, like Paul, I-D-S, lipids. So they're hydrophobic, parentheses, water-fearing. So they're water-fearing, unlike the other one was not. This one's water-fearing and can pass easily through the hydrophobic layer of the plasma membrane and enter cells. Thus, the receptors for steroid hormones are located inside the cell. Okay, next page. How you guys doing out there? Are you enjoying the class? Are you staying with Miss Melinda and enjoying the class? Let's put our hair back some. Okay. Are you enjoying the class? Okay. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, here we go. Once inside the cell, steroid hormones pass through the cytoplasm. We've had that word before. C like cat, Y like yellow, TO2, cyto, and then plasm. You should not be familiar with. That's one word. So plasm is P like Paul, L like look, as like as going to the store, and M like me. Cytoplasm. Let's start from the top since I had to spell it all. Once inside the cell, steroid hormones pass through the cytoplasm of the cell and diffuse into the nucleus inside. Oh, you can't. I'm recording.
Say hey.
Okay, no, I'm recording in front of the whole world. Could you please go up?
I just come by and say hey.
Okay.
Good.
I'm in the middle of recording. Do you understand? Okay, people. Oh, I thought that asshole went to bed. Fucking asshole. Okay. Let's finish this page.
Sorry.
Okay. Once inside the cell, steroid hormones pass through the cytoplasm of the cell and diffuse into the nucleus inside the nucleus, and steroid hormones bind to receptor proteins, forming an activated complex, period. Directly causes a change in the behavior of the cell, often by acting as transcription factors that turn on the transcription of certain genes. Okay, you with me, guys? My head's cut off. That's not good, right? Do we want Miss Melinda's head cut off? No. Okay. Seeing how hormones work. Continue. After these genes are transcribed and translated, the newly made proteins perform the function that represents the cell's response to the hormone. Okay. Surveying the general functions of hormones. Hormones play several important roles, whether they come from a plant, an invertebrate animal, or an invertebrate animal, period. Following are just a few examples of the many functions that hormones serve within an organism. Colon. Assuring that growth occurs properly. Colon. In humans, growth hormones must be secreted at normal levels by the pituitary gland throughout childhood and adolescence. The extremes of having too many or too few growth hormones are obvious giants or midgets, respectfully. Okay. Okay, we got the word in by itself, and then invertebrate. So in space invertebrate animals, such as insects, growth hormones are responsible for molting, which is the shedding of the outer layer, the exoskeleton, period. Hormones also regulate growth in plants, and you can find out more about that on Google or Microsoft. Okay, next one, titled Ensuring That Development and Maturation Occur Properly and on Time, In space, insects, metamorphosis, the process of changing body forms during developmental stages, is controlled by a substance called, quote, juvenile hormone, unquote. Next page, we got metamorphosis is the process that changes a larva or caterpillar into a pupa and then into a moth or a butterfly. In vertebrates, hormones trigger the transition from juvenile to adult forms and cause the onset of sexual maturity, period. Plant hormones regulate developmental events such as seed germination and flowering, making sure that reproduction occurs at the best possible time. For humans, who have steady supplies of food year-round and sheltered environments in which to live, reproduction can occur whenever the urge hits. Okay, it says year-round and sheltered environments in which to live, reproduction can occur whenever the urge hits. Chapter 19 for the specifics on human reproduction. Well, we can't do that. Okay. So, but for other animals and plants, reproduction needs to occur during certain seasons. During certain seasons, time of the year, seasons of the year when climate and food supplies are optimal. Consequently, hormones stimulate these organisms' reproductive urges only when the climate and food conditions are just right. So many different hormones are found in animals that we can't possibly tell you about them all. However, we do want to give a peek into the functions of specific hormones, which is why Table 18.3, well, we're not going to see that, highlights some of the many hormones found in mammals like you, along with the glands that produce them and their major functions. In this chapter 19, becoming aware of how asexual reproduction occurs in animals. Next, getting an up close and personal, that's in quotations, like getting and quote, these four words kind of like go together with a hyphen. So getting and quote, up dash close dash and dash personal. So getting an up close and personal look at sexual reproduction. Seeing how the birds and bees and other animals do it. Next one, figuring out how a cell knows where to go and what to do. Explaining the complexities of development and aging. Okay, you guys with me? Yeah? We only have, I think we only have 3 pages left, okay? So did I just read this one? Reproduction, no I didn't. Okay, no I didn't. Chapter 19, it's page 10. We got 11, 12, 13. So we're done in 4 pages, okay? You with me? All right, let's go. Let's go. Okay, chapter 19, reproduction 101, colon, making more animals. This chapter is your chance to find out all about how babies are made. It covers the nuts and bolts of how animals reproduce. Get ready to discover what happens inside a female's body to prepare for reproduction, how different types of animals, including humans, actually make, how offspring develop prior to birth, and how gender is determined in humans. Chapter 19, reproduction 101, making more animals. This budding's for you, colon, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction allows organisms to reproduce rapidly and without a partner, which makes asexual organisms essentially just fresher, younger versions of their original selves. Also, asexual organisms don't really die, semicolon. Instead, they just bud off. B-U-D, like dog, bud, space, off. They just bud off into new versions of themselves and continue on. The basic cellular process that makes asexual reproduction possible is mitosis, the type of cell division that produces exact copies of parent cells. Asexual reproduction occurs by several different methods in a variety of animals, colon. Okay, first it's budding, B-U-D-D-I-N-G is the title. Budding happens when a small outgrowth begins on the original organism. That outgrowth gradually becomes larger and eventually separates to create a new individual. Several species of invertebrates, including the hydra, produce offspring by budding. The next title is fission. F like Frank, is like he is going to the store. I-O-N. So fission, F-I-S-I-O-N. Fission occurs when the original organism grows larger and then splits in two. Sea anemones are an example of an invertebrate that reproduces asexually by fission. Okay? We got, 2 more pages, guys. Okay? Let's go. Stay with Miss Melinda. Okay. Fragmentation is the title. It happens when small pieces of the original organism break off and then grow into complete individuals, period. Starfish are among the animals that use fragmentation to reproduce. For organisms that are widely separated from others of their kind, and for organisms that are doing well in a particular environment, asexual reproduction poses quite the advantage. Yet what makes asexual reproduction an asset for some species, the fact that it doesn't allow for change, also makes it a disadvantage, period. If a disease strikes or the environment changes and all the organisms are identical, they all be affected equally. If the disease can easily kill the organisms, comma, for example, comma, they'll all die if they were the only organisms of their kind, comma, then an entire species would be wiped out in one fell swoop, period. Species ultimately have a better chance of surviving changes if they're members of some differences from one another. And that, my friends, is the end of the class. So how's all my subscribers doing tonight? Okay, I'm going to let you go. I want to get to bed and watch some good movies, okay? I love all my subscribers. I love all my students, fans, and viewers. And come to Miss Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Show anytime you want. You need somebody to talk. You want me to cheer you up. And you can write below my videos comments, long comments if you want. I'm actually supposed to have my students make comments under my videos. YouTube likes that. And then I'm supposed to respond to as many people as I can. But of course there is 1,100 of you. So, I can, just make my best. But come on over. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Join the party. All right, I'll see you next show. Good night.